All right. If you clicked on this video, I'm going to teach you how to destroy envy once for all. I'm going to teach you how to dominate it. Because most people, if you clicked on this video, chances are you are envious, or at least you have some degree of envy, or at least maybe you're just curious about it. But overall, everyone's dealt with envy to some degree at least. It's not uncommon. It's not unnatural. Every single person, every single human has dealt with different types of sins. And like many people, I've dealt with sins myself. I'm not going to say that I don't. But the only difference is throughout my life, I've made it a commitment to try destroying every single sin the best way that I can possibly. I try finding counters basically, not counter arguments, but I've tried finding ways to destroy them, whether it's pride, envy, lust, gluttony, whatever. I've tried finding countermeasures and eliminating them one by one, even if I have to use them against each other, basically. But now, envy is a very interesting sin. It's a very interesting topic because, again, if you're clicking on this video, at least you're acknowledging the fact that you're envious. And that's pretty much, honestly, that's probably the hardest thing to do, is just getting rid of envy by saying, you know what, I'm going to commit to get rid of it because I think I'm envious. Now, how do you destroy envy? Well, usually for me, I'm not very envious. It's kind of one of the weaker pieces of sin that I have. If I usually go by the capital sins, I usually think about lust, gluttony, envy, all of those, pride. But for me, envy, there's a lot of ways this could occur. Maybe for you, it's you look at your friends' accomplishments and you get a little bit jealous. Maybe you look at other people winning in life. Maybe you see them getting a new house, a new car, and you're getting jealous. Maybe you see maybe there's different levels. You could be someone that's so petty that you get jealous over the slightest thing. But overall, the way I've found it to be easy to destroy envy is you have to be able to manipulate your brain, right? The first thing is you could simply be like, okay, you know what? I'm going to ignore this envy because it's not good and it's a sin. But the best way, honestly, that you could destroy envy is from a very young age. Because honestly, once you're older, you're kind of screwed. You can't really do anything about it because it's very difficult to improve your life once you're already older. But as soon as you're young, as soon as you're able to start moving around, working, making money, doing different things, envy can be something that's very relatively easy to destroy. So, envy. There's a lot of ways you can go about doing this, but for me in particular, ever since I was young, I saw kids my age that would try getting a new video game. They would try buying a new phone. They would try competing and seeing who could get this, who could get that. But to me, I was thinking 10 steps ahead of it. I'm still thinking of it 10 steps ahead right now. I don't think that much about fun. I don't think about going out and, posting for the Instagram, going to nightclubs and stuff like that. To me, that's cringe. But overall, the best way, even if that is your goal, the best way you could do that is working on yourself. You have to keep moving ahead. You have to keep progressing. Because overall, it's player versus player. It's competition in a sense that while everyone's too busy trying to fight for materialistic things, you're too busy trying to beat them at something else. So I'll give you guys an example. If I go to the gym, I might be a very athletic, well-built person, but there's always going to be someone that's a little bit stronger, a little bit better built than I am. So if I find a person like this, there goes the envy. This might be a situation, if you're like me, where you're kind of like, not necessarily envious, but you start getting a little bit pissed. You're like, you know what, screw this guy. He's a little bit more jacked than I am, and I'm trying to beat this guy. So that actually tends to motivate me, and I'm going to go work out more than him. But if I'm ever in a really pissed off mood and I start getting jealous of something so minuscule like that, I eliminate it immediately because I'm not just working on the gym. I'm working on my money. I'm working on the gym. I'm working on everything. Every single metric of my life I'm already working on. So if I bump into someone that's more jacked than I am, I might think to myself, well, yeah, he's pretty jacked, but you know what? At least I have more money than him. Or if I go somewhere else and I find someone that has more money than me, I might be like, you know what? He has more money than me, but guess what? I'm more jacked than him, so it doesn't even matter. Or if you go somewhere where someone's more jacked than you, and maybe he has the same amount of money as you, I'm like, oh, well, you know what? We have the same amount of money. He's a little bit more jacked than I am, but I have a better personality and I'm better looking and I'm smarter. So who cares? So you have to consistently work on that. You have to get more knowledgeable. You have to become more smart. You have to curate your skills. You have to work on your skills, your ability to talk, your ability to influence and persuade people. You have to work on your skills, your talents consistently. And this is the degree of mentality that you have to have. Instead of trying to be just like everyone else and everyone has the same Apple Watch, everyone has the same phone, everyone has the same car, the same house, whatever, you have to try and strive to fight against that. You have to consistently try to be a little bit better than everyone. You might have the same phone, but you might have more money in your wallet. It sounds bad, but at the very minimum, it is a little bit bad because, instead of eliminating envy, you're sort of feeding it and doing bad things with, like you're kind of feeding it in a way. But if you think about it, you're unconsciously manipulating yourself to work harder based on this envy that you're trying to eliminate. So overall, you end up working so hard that you don't even have a reason to be envious anymore because you're already beating everyone. And by the time you're already at the top, you have no envy. And even if you wanted to, your self-esteem is already high enough so much that you won't even care about anything else. So that's the way I would approach envy by any mean, any regard. Now, if you want the easy route is just understanding that envy is a sin and that you should be grateful for the things that you have. Very simple. That's a very simple one that honestly anyone should be able to do right now immediately. You should be able to do this right now. Just look at your life in retrospect. Look at the things you have that you take for granted and be like, you know what? I'm very thankful that I have this because it could be worse. You could have not been born in the place where you were born right now. You could have been born in some third world country and been super poor, super ugly. You could have had some super insane deformity or something. And it could have been much, much worse. You could have had no family. There's people out there that have a ton of money. They have a ton of cars. They have a nice body, but they don't have someone that actually cares about them. You might have that, and they don't. So you have to be thankful for that. There's people that would trade their entire life. They would trade it in an instant just to be where you're at right now. So the first thing is being grateful for your life and not taking anything for granted. That's the first step of destroying envy. And like I said, the second one, if you like to play around with it and screw around and actually make your life better based on this envy, which I like to, take something that's bad, inherently bad, and twist it into something good instead of just killing it right away, is you go ahead and do that. You look 10 steps ahead. If you're in school, if you're at work, whatever, look at these people and be like, you know what? Okay, fine. We're all at the same pace right now. We're all here. We have the same amount of money. We all have same amount of, we all have cars, houses, whatever. But now you have to think, okay, you know what? I'm going to go to the gym every single day because I need to be in better shape than these guys are. Because here's the thing. I've seen this with children. I've seen this with adults. You go trying to, and this typically happens with girls for some reason, but you go and you try being like everyone else. You try dressing the same, having the same haircut. And that's kind of cringe to me, but you try being this exact carbon copy of everyone else. And you think it's going to make you popular or special. It's always so stupid to me. It's like making content online. If I made content the same way that everyone else does on the internet, being cringe and corny, making some cringe corny intro, not speaking my mind the way I want to, then I wouldn't feel, how would I expect myself to be praised in a higher regard than someone else if I'm acting the same way, if not a little bit worse than everyone else? I'm not going to do that. What I am going to do is be my own version of myself, act the way that I want to act in a good way, and beat everyone else, because that's the way it should be. So if you go out with your friends and you're all dressed the same, you all have the same freaking haircut, you all look the same, you're not going to be better than anyone else. That's the thing I tend to see with people that value materialism. They tend to try getting the same, phones, same materialistic things, same brand. Branding is stupid to me. You wear the same brand, but you're still illiterate. You can't talk to people. You're still a moron. You can't talk to people. You don't know how to convince people. You don't know how to socialize. You have zero talent. You can't do anything. Oh, but I have a Gucci purse. I have this. Who gives a crap? Who gives a crap if there's 10 guys that look exactly the same that walk into a bar? They look exactly the same. Who cares? Nobody's going to care. You're all carbon copies of each other. If you truly want to beat everyone else, you have to do the things that nobody else is doing. The way I try to operate about this is, if I see something that I envy about someone, maybe, let's say I see someone that's more jacked than I am, and I'm like, oh crap, this guy's actually jacked. You know what? I'm going to work twice as hard now because this guy's jacked. I'm going to work harder, maybe get to his level eventually. And at the same time, I know he's spending 10 hours at the gym, spending all of his parents' money while living in their basement. I know that's what they're doing. So what am I going to do? I'm going to save all my money and invest it as I'm going to the gym every single day also. And I'm going to surpass him eventually. That's the way you have to think about these things. You're not going to be like everyone else. And if you try to be like everyone else, you're going to be treated just like them. If you want to be better, then act better. Act different. You can't be better than anyone else if you don't act differently. And overall, by the time you get to that degree, you're not going to care about envy. You're not going to be jealous. But you're going to be a completely different person.